Okay, so these videos have already become very sporadic, and I'll give you guys just a little bit of an update on why that is. So, I just got off of my 2 days off, my weekend basically, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get all this done with, the editing of these and maybe even get some more footage, and it did not work out that way. Uh, went to bed like both days. I went to bed before 7:30, and then woke up at like noon, 1 o'clock. Like today, I woke up at like 1 and couldn't go back to sleep. I took like a 3 hour nap before I had to be here at work at 11, and I'm just exhausted. I don't know what's up with my sleep schedule, but I am just torn up, exhausted right now. So I'd like to say that when I go home in the morning, that I'm going to edit this one and the previous one because I have a previous video to put out. Don't know if that's gonna happen or not. I might try when I wake up, but if not, there may be a day where I release multiple vlogs, and if that happens, this is the explanation of why.
Silence calls to me from the treetops of this world. A balance, feeling free. I'm a part of this place above. And I know.
So, since there wasn't a lot going on the vlog, I decided that I would show you guys some of the stuff that's, well, on my way home. I don't know if you can see it real well. That's what we call Comanche Peak, the little hill. It looks like it's got a dip and then another hill. And then, I don't know if y'all can see that. I think that's just a dead fish bobbing in the water right there. So, that's kind of gross. And this is like a little boardwalk. This is the swimming area. It's not as cool as the real beach, as my wife, who is from Florida, keeps reminding me all the time. But it's nice to have a place to come swimming and, play in the water, and it be like in a beach type environment. That dead fish is really gross. I keep looking over at it. But yeah, so that's the beach, and show you one or two places more on my way home. Okay, so what we're pulling up onto now is the town square. It's not in this complete form, but in some form or another. It's been here since like 1880, 90 something or another. I'm gonna pull over here in just a sec into the courthouse grounds and see what the sign says and everything. But I mean, look, this is like old school town square, at least in the South. I mean, I don't know how things looked in other states and things. I mean, I've seen the closest thing I've seen really. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm gonna hit this cop car, am I? Okay, no, I didn't. Ooh, that would have sucked. But yeah, closest thing I can think of is Back to the Future. They had that town square. But yeah, see, so that right there, it says the downtown store. It says downtown store and turquoise tumbleweed. Used to be a bar way back when, and it's the site of one of the only shootings back in the old western days of Granbury, which is where I live in Texas. And basically, a dude got into a fight with a constable. The constable went back to the jail, which I'll drive by and show you that as well. Went back to the jail, got his guns and everything, came back. There was a little brief shootout. Neither the constable nor the... Oh, and there's our opera house. I wanted to bring that up too. I'll tell you a story about that place in a minute as well. I'm not going to get out and look at the sign. That says 1890. I'm guessing that's a really nice place to eat. So if you're ever in Granbury. But, yeah, so they got into a little bit of a gunfight. Dude starts shooting at the cop starts shooting at him. Neither one gets hit. Nobody gets hit except for a guy, which I'm going to drive on the other side now and just get so you can get a good view of the courthouse right there. But a guy on the other side from where we are right now. So on the other side over there, way over there, those buildings, before, you know, all this stuff was here to block the view. A guy was getting onto his horse over there, dirt roads. Some of these buildings probably weren't even here yet. Was getting onto his horse and got shot in the groin, in his you know, scrotum, testicles, ball sack, whatever you want to call it. He got shot in it, and he actually survived, and he actually went on to have like a bunch of kids or something. I've got I'll show you guys. I'll put I have the story on a piece of paper at home. Here's that, we bought this when we went and visited the jail. Actually, they give them away for free. It's like a donation type thing, but we picked this up. It tells the story. You can pause it and read it. And there we go. But yeah, that's pretty wild. Okay, and going back to the Opera House, which is back over that way, the building with the brown trim. So, legend has it, well, it's not legend, it's actually fact, that John Wilkes Booth, he performed at that Opera House many occasions, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not 100%, but he performed at the Opera House here, and legend has it that he faked his death, or that they didn't catch Booth in that barn that they burned down. That wasn't actually Booth, that was somebody else, and they said it was Booth just so they could say, yeah, look, we caught the killer. And that he died, or he was on his deathbed and confessed to his lawyer that lived here in Granbury, and then he got better and he ran for it. So that's a little legend out of Granbury. You can look that up. This is the jail. There was never a hanging here. 1885, it says on that sign. And they used it until 1978 as the actual jail. But yeah, John Wilkes Booth, he was going by a different name. If you look up John Wilkes Booth in Granbury. It's actually a pretty famous story, and it's not one of those crazy conspiracy stories that's just thrown out of hand. Apparently the guy had a lot of insider knowledge, and people believe that if it wasn't actually John Wilkes Booth, then there was a good chance that it was a conspirator of John Wilkes Booth, or he was friends and had heard the story before John Wilkes Booth died. Some connection to Booth, but people believe he came here because he loved performing at the Opera House. That's the legend. Okay, these are a little hard to read, but that's Brigadier General Hiram B. Granbury and his wife. I don't think she's actually buried here. He is, I think, or he's buried in Franklin, Tennessee. But as you can see from the Confederate flag, that he was a brigadier general in the Confederate Army. So the town is named after him. We are in the South, so, you know, you kind of got to deal with it. Who knows? I didn't live back then. I don't know a lot about the guy, but he's buried in, this is one of the oldest cemeteries in Granbury as far as I know. You'll see, if I was to show you like the whole place, like around, you would see Confederate flags like scattered around from people that actually fought in the Civil War. But there's a couple more places I want to show you in here. And all right, here's another one. Now, some of you may be thinking, if you know any history at all, Jesse James is buried in like Kentucky or somewhere in there. I don't even know where he's buried, to be honest with you. But it was another little conspiracy theory. You'll find out there's a lot of those around here, that Jesse James, that his cousin did not actually kill him, and that he ran and he came and hid out here. And I don't know the whole legend of the story and stuff, but you know, it goes that he is buried here. That wasn't actually Jesse James that was killed by his cousin up there, and that he ran and he came down here and lived under an assumed name, and probably on his deathbed told people who he was, and he was buried in that grave. Was put there in 1950. It was dug up in like the 80s or something to try and prove or disprove that it was actually Jesse's grave. And it turned out that it has the body of a one-armed Mexican guy in it. But people say that that gravestone was just put there as a memorial marker because nobody knows where the actual body of Jesse James is buried. Another conspiracy theory, I don't know. Nobody will ever know. So it's one of those things, you either believe it or you don't. I mean, it would not surprise me. Weird things have happened for sure. Another claim to fame for Granbury, I don't know if you can read that, it says Mary Elizabeth Kerr. She was the daughter of Robert Patton and Matilda Crockett. She was the granddaughter of Colonel Davy Crockett and Elizabeth Crockett. So, Davy Crockett, who fought in the War for Independence against Mexico here in Texas, a big-time Texas folk hero who left Tennessee. As part of it, you know, Texas needed help defending it. I mean, the Mexican army had us way outnumbered. We needed help, so they told them they would give them land for coming down here and helping. Anyone who would come down here and help. He actually petitioned the Tennessee state government to send help, and they said no. And he said his famous line, well, it's famous down here. He said a famous line. He said, well, you may all go to hell, and I'm going to Texas. And that's kind of like, it's been twisted to mean, you know, that we love Texas so much down here that, you know, everyone else can go to hell. We're going to Texas. His wife, Elizabeth Crockett, actually settled not too far from here, literally probably about 20 minutes from here, in a little town called Acton. If I ever get the chance, I'll put it on the vlog too. I might even have pictures of it somewhere from when we visited. I'll throw on here. But yeah, so he was supposed to come here and live in Hood County. You know, after the war was over. Of course, he didn't make it. He was slaughtered by the Mexican government at the Alamo. But yeah, so that's another claim to fame, is we actually, to this day, there are two families that are direct descendants of Davy Crockett and Elizabeth Crockett that still live here in Granbury and in surrounding Hood County. Texas is the land. Texas is the people that you meet here. I mean, I have multiple friends and family and everything, and none of them believe what the rest of the country thinks that all Texans believe. It's, you know, it's ridiculous that we get pigeonholed because the most vocal people here are the idiots, in my opinion. But you know, this is Texas. You know, this land is what I love. I love being a Texan. I love being from Texas. I've lived in other places too. It's not like I just, you know, refuse to ever leave here. I lived in Florida, hated it. I lived in South Carolina. I lived in Charleston, and being that I love history, I actually did love living in Charleston. But we lived in Tennessee, which was great because we lived on a friend's land. He might watch this vlog. Hey, word up to Joey and Ashley. Hey, you guys. I love you guys. But anyway, yeah, Texas for me is not about government and the way that, you know, we're a red state or a blue state or whatever. Texas to me this is just the land I love. This is my home. And it's like, I try not to be the overzealous Texan who's all like, Texas is the best, but I'm sorry, every other state, Texas is the best. Except maybe I'd rank it up there with like the states that have Yellowstone in it, because Yellowstone's probably the best place I've ever been in my life. I love it in Yellowstone. If I could, I would live there, but inside the park in Yellowstone. I would. The rest, I don't know. I don't know of any place around it. I grew up in Yellowstone National Park every summer, so yeah, I could live there, but anywhere else I'd rather be in Texas. I see, you know, that's how it is. I'm going off, I'm ranting, but not all of us down here are, you know, backwards redneck hillbillies who hate gay people and you know, and think Obama's the Antichrist and Bible thump. But that's not all of us down here. There's good people and there's bad people everywhere. So don't hold it against Texas when you hear stupid shit in the news about Texas or about people from Texas, because there's people like that in your state. There is. You've seen the news in your state about people doing dumb shit, and you've sat there quietly thinking, thank God they didn't put this on national news. Well, Texas and Florida get a huge bad rap because of how many dumb idiots get on the news here. So, but that's going to do it for me. I'm going to bed.